Things are tense as the episode begins. Now that Dary and the Degens are friends. A new friend and Katy have fun, but could Wayne and Rosie be done? On to Snooters with the skids in the end.
Okay, we'll be there in Letterkenny in an hour or so. Any idea where you want to go or what you want to do?
Not really. Let me look up some things to do. Things to do in Letterkenny. Oh, this looks interesting.
Oh, are there any good places to eat?
There's a 1-star rating here titled Bad Restaurant from a user called Slippy Palin Boy 7. This ribald restaurant has a despicable taste in music. The so-called DJs use an iPod Nano filled with pop star mashups with tawdry and puerile lyrics and a simpleton's bass line. They should be playing the latest in underground Nigerian neurofolk. Even Neapolitan funk would be better than the trash played by them. I will not be patronizing this establishment.
Okay, then. I'm not even sure what I was supposed to take from that. It sounds like it was written by someone nestled firmly underneath a top hat.
Right? Maybe we could try this place, Modine's? From user Karen, 1-star review. Modine's 3 is a very unsanitary establishment. I went to use the bathroom after having a very undercooked mojito chicken breast and greasy fries. There is excrement on the outside of the toilet and on the walls of the stall. On top of it all, the bartender and waiter were making suggestive comments about my husband. I will not be eating here again.
Huh. Do you think there's something...
Hey, wait, Cassie, wait. There's a reply from the owner to that one. You can just right off. My chicken is the best you'll ever have, and your hubby was making eyes at me the whole night. I was flicking all night from seeing that bear of a man. Post has been edited by moderators due to the graphic nature of the response.
Well, that's a thing. And where did those beeps come from? You know what? Never mind. There's got to be somewhere we can go, right?
It's a 1 star, 1.5 stars, dollar store, smells like farts. I want to like this place, but I'd give it 0 stars if oh, here we go. 5 stars.
Oh, thank goodness. What you got there?
The produce stand, 5 stars. This family-owned and run produce stand is everything you'll ever need. Stop in for fresh produce, tarts made with love, or just a chat and a laugh. Every time I come here, it feels just like home.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Thirsty Thursday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the produce stand, a podcast paying tribute to everything in the universe. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other Letterkenny podcasts out there, but this one is definitely a Degen. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is the lovely Tanya. And online, we have Squirrely Matt and the very degenerate Victor. And joining us tonight, he's from Down Under. He's a sports lover, mainly of AFL and cricket. Not that we know those are sports up here. He's a jigsaw puzzle enthusiast and enjoys a tasty ale and cooking up a good homemade meal. Please join me making some noise for Jazz.
Wondrous!
Oh my gourd.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wait.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I regret nothing!
Welcome to the Produce Stand, Jazz.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No, our pleasure. First of all, where are we speaking to you from? Or where are you speaking to us from?
I'm talking to you from Wajak Nunga Bunga, which more specifically Buraloo. But
So
that's
can you
the
say
native,
that one more time?
Wajak Nunga, that's the native people that live in and around the area. Buraloo is what they call the space.
Okay.
Most people know it as Perth.
Nice. Okay.
Perth, Australia. Nice. Well, so it's tomorrow there.
Australia. It is 10:37 on Friday. So talking to you from the future.
I love it.
Very
I
cool.
love the fucking future, man.
Future's so
It's
bright.
good. Nothing's happened so far. So
Amazing. Well, thank you.
And it's looking sunny in the future.
Yeah. Well,
what's the temperature out there right now?
Tease us with those temperatures.
tease you. So it's 28 today. So it's actually kind of a bit chilly. Probably need to put a jumper on a bit if it's doing that. So about 28 degrees
really?
Celsius.
Jumper? Come on.
A jumper at 28? No.
Thought I'd just put the knife in the back a bit and twist.
Yeah, thanks. So that's 28 in socialism degrees. In freedom degrees, it's like, I don't know. What would that be? 80 or 90?
80 odd.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
it got a bit hotter earlier in the week, but I'll chat about that a bit later. And I've already done the calculation for freedom units for that one. So
okay.
Nice.
I notice you have, and I'm sure Victor will probably, remark on this, but you have some guitars hanging behind you in your room there. Looks like a bass player, an Ibanez bass, is that right? And a Fender and an acoustic. So you're a musician, or are you just like decorating?
Collecting.
Yeah, collecting.
Like me, I have two that hang here.
Yeah, and Matt doesn't know how to play.
They're dusty decorations. My ex-partner of mine's old man was a country music singer manager, so I got to know a few of the Australian country music stars, so it was quite interesting from the chats last week. I can't say, I suppose I have a bit more appreciation of country music, but they also taught me how to play the takamine there that's sitting on the end, so it doesn't get as much play as I'd like, but I whip it out every now and then, and it somewhat comes back to me until my fingers until my fingers go a bit raw after about half an hour. So
Well, as one does after whipping it out for a bit.
Yeah,
Fucking
on the album Wiggly Wiggly World, I believe an Australian country singer makes an appearance, but I'm trying to remember his name. It'll come to me.
We watched that documentary.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, that was an excellent documentary.
Yeah, it was really well done. All right, well, why don't we get started here?
How are you now?
Tonight's lineup was, myself, Tanya, Matt, Victor, and our guest Jez will have the last word. So, what have we been doing this week? Last Saturday, we went to a birthday party.
We did go to a birthday party.
We went to a birthday party.
I can't remember who the hell it was.
It was a lot.
I can't remember either.
If somebody isn't going to remember, it's going to be you. So we went to Matt's birthday party. He turned... Can I say how old you turned, Matt?
Yeah, I said it last week.
Yeah, he's the ripe old age of 40 now. He's joined the club, or he's, as I think Charlie said, on the other side of the hill. And we had a great time. We went to this place. What was the place called?
Great time.
Playtime Bowl.
Playtime Bowl. So we did some bowling. I think I bowled the game of my life, or at least one of the best games.
We're going to print that and put it up on a picture
what was
somewhere.
yours? Like a 160 or something, didn't you?
159 or something like that. But I had a turkey at one point. I had 3 strikes in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I bowled terribly.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when we got there, you're the guy who brought your own fucking shoes. So you always be wary of the guy with his own bowling shoes. But you did not live up to that expectation at all.
When the beer starts flowing. I barely knew what lane I was on.
Wait, did he just put on his own shoes and then get a gutter ball? Like what happened?
Did you see three different security guards yelled at me to get bowling shoes? And they kept coming up on the lane and say, "Excuse me, sir. You have to use real bowling shoes." I'm like, "These are my bowling shoes." And they looked all embarrassed, like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Gord asked
Three
if you
times that happened.
Gord asked if you had your own ball as well, and I said, "No, you didn't." But didn't your buddy my buddy
he
Kevin
brought a
had
Maple Leaf ball.
Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs ball.
Unbelievable. And is he the one that I just narrowly beat for the top score in the first game?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop saying that like you don't know it already.
No, I like
you knew who you beat.
There was what? 12 people or something. It was a good
There's
group.
A few people.
20 of us in total, I think.
20, okay.
Actually, I guess 19. So only one sat out. So Jen sat out the first game, actually, and then a friend of hers sat out the second one because we had 3 lanes, so 18 people. So we had one sitting out.
Yeah. I didn't start off too well. I think I might have guttered my first ball, but then after that, it was strike, 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 and I just barely eked out a win because your buddy made it interesting at the end there. But yeah, I mean, I'm only good for one game ever. Like my second game was horrible. So I should have retired after the first game. Anyway, that was fun.
and the most unique throw that I've ever seen of any individual, Matt wins the award for like.
Oh, he knows how to put the spin on that ball. Yeah.
It was like a discus bowling ball, like contorted hand, kind of like, I don't know. You were spinning. I was unique.
But my score did not reflect the technique.
Or maybe it did. Anyway, it was a good time.
It was a great time.
Yeah, and we had some fun in the arcade as well, shooting baskets and playing beer pong and all that stuff. Yeah,
I'm not sure Matt would remember that portion.
No, I do remember that. The memory's still there at that point.
You were in it to win it, bud. Holy, when we left you, we were slightly concerned, but we figured Jen, you had Jen was there. She was an adult, so
she would adult for the both of you.
So yeah, good time.
Who's the most competitive out of you 4? Who was in it to win it the most?
In which
Matt.
game?
For drinking, it was Matt.
Right.
For drinking, it was Matt.
Sounds like you were
Definitely
drinking the most there,
Yeah.
Matt, and
So-
deservedly so.
Yeah, so here's the context. I mean, it was obviously my 40th. I invited a bunch of people. What most there didn't know is that my friends, two of my closest friends, Kevin and Dave, who were there, I posted a photo on Insta and a couple other places for anyone that saw it. Those guys and myself have not been in the same room with each other for over 10 years.
Wow.
Kevin and Dave, idiots, got in a fight a number of years ago and haven't spoken in years. And these are my two closest friends, right?
Mhm.
So I've spoken to them separately over the years. They both kind of alluded that they'd love to reconcile, but we're men and neither one of them would pick up the phone and do it. So I essentially forced that situation. I invited them both separately. Neither one of them knew each other was coming. I'm like, it should be fine. They did. They reconciled. I mean, I wasn't in the moment, but I was told that they had a heart-to-heart, a big emotional apology, and then from that point on, it was an in it to win it night. And
Oh boy, were you ever.
I didn't go to the bar once. That's the reality. It was everyone, Al, yourself included, kept feeding me more alcohol, and
I was trying to give you some of my water. I was trying
see, I needed that because, needless to say, I don't remember the tail end of the night. As far as I've been told, I had to be helped out of the building. So it got. I don't know what Victor. I do remember you and Linda leaving. And by the way, thank you everyone for coming. It was a fucking blast from what I recall. Al, I don't remember you and Tanya leaving. I'm not sure when you did. I'm sure I said goodbye.
You did.
Maybe.
Hugged
Okay.
repeatedly. It was very, very, very emotional.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very-
and I remember all I remember saying the next morning to Jen, I'm like, was I an asshole or was I just a lot? And she's like, you were a lot. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
as long as I'm not the asshole, I'm okay.
You weren't a dick on the boat.
No,
No,
you were not
you
a
weren't
dick
the
on the
dick on the
boat. You were perfectly fine, just a lot. Yes, a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, Dan, how was your week?
I really had a lot of fun playing. Do you remember the beer pong? That's had nothing to do with beer. It was a machine that the ping pong ball would get
Pop up.
and just float there, and then you were like feeling like you were the king by like grabbing it out of the midair and like it was so fun.
You didn't win at the pong,
You
but you
didn't win,
did it with style. Yeah.
You felt like the man. You were just.
It was a pretty powerful moment when that ping pong ball pops out of that machine.
Oh man, that was so fun.
Oh, and to answer, I think Jez is your question. Who's the most competitive out of the four of us? It might be a tie between Tanya and myself. Because I know Victor is happy to lose as long as he's the biggest loser or the biggest winner. He doesn't care as long as he's
Matt's pretty competitive.
But
it was out the window that night.
Yeah, that was out the
White
window.
line fever.
Yeah, way out the window. Then I realized very quick that my game was not happening, and I just stopped caring.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. So what's been going on? My week. So our daughter is pink with pink eye again. So that's been.
Teach her to wipe her ass, man. Like
you know what's happening. So we finally came to the conclusion of what's happening. So she's volunteering in the kindergarten room. And with the grade ones. And I'm like, okay, so every time she volunteers in this kindergarten room, she comes home with a virus. And by the Monday, she woke up and her eye wasn't opening again. And it's like, son of a bitch. I'm like, I love to support you and want you to volunteer because that's a great thing to do. But at the same time, can we maybe put a hazmat suit on you so that when you go in, you're not collecting anything? So yeah, we've been dealing with that. Work. I had a night with a girlfriend tonight. I went out for dinner. Oh my God. It was phenomenal. I haven't seen my friend since pre-pandemic. It's been kind of crazy and schedules and stuff. So it was so wonderful to connect with a friend and have a wonderful night. And I had the most delicious mango drink. It was like a lovely drink.
Cool.
I don't even remember what the hell it
went to
was.
the Mexican place?
It was a Mexican place.
Nice.
And it was like so authentically Mexican. That's the closest I'm going to get to Mexico without actually taking a plane and getting
Without
there.
getting sick.
Without getting sick, with no IV bag, because Mexico hates me, and that's what happens when I go. So yeah, just off of a lovely high from a great night and ready to get into it. And yeah, that's me.
Matt, do you remember your week?
Most of it. Yeah, we talked about the birthday. A great time. Rough recovery. The funny thing is I had to take my my youngest to a skating lesson.
Yeah,
the
Jen
next
said that.
morning.
She's like, he's got to take him to a skating lesson. I'm making him go.
we went, and actually, if you ask Jen, she'll tell you she was quite impressed. She's like, I did not expect you to be as well as I was the next day.
You're probably still drunk.
It's probably it.
I love
we
your
went
wife
skating.
so much. Her, she is phenomenal. She's like, oh yeah, this is what's happening.
Yeah, and she like, it's your 40th, you get a pass, is what she said, because she was regaling me with all the tales of what happened in the back half of the night. But
but she made you sleep in that room, right? The room you're in right now. You had to.
Well,
sleep
yeah,
in
we had a sleepover. My buddy stayed, and we both just crashed here. But apparently, I just came in, hit the bed, and was out. Like, we were supposed to play darts and have more beers. None of that happened. I don't know how I got into the house, but anyways, I made it home. Went to skating. Had a blast. Thank you for everyone that came. I'm now 40. Fuck. The rest of my week, though, what was I going to say? There was two things. Oh, one, I'm sort of upgrading my setup here. So thanks to Al and Tanya and Victor, they gifted me a podcasting device. So I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm going to turn up my game a little bit in the future. So that's exciting. So thank you guys. That was amazing. And then I bought myself, with some money from my folks, I bought myself a new monitor, because I've been working off my laptop monitor the entire time we've been doing this show. And I'm realizing now this is much better. Everyone's big. Like, you're almost like actual head sizes now. It's great. Not little thumbnails. So it's quite an upgrade. So that's fun. And then today, I'll end on this one. Today, I been trying to get into one of my doctors for a while, and I got into a specialist with the ENT. And I know I've talked before about having trouble sleeping and all this jazz. So I think there might be some light at the end of the tunnel. It turns out I have a severely deviated septum. So I didn't even know what that. I'd heard it, and when I ever hear of deviated septum, I only think of the movie Heavyweights. And if you catch that reference, I love you. And if you don't, well, figure it out. But so that's exciting. So we're gonna deal with that. We're starting the process. The doctor said, have you tried these things? And I tried all the things he had talked about. He's like, well, the next step is surgery. So we're gonna look at correcting it, and hopefully that'll clear this old nostril up and allow me to breathe a little better at night, and hopefully get some better sleep. So we're a ways out from that, but starting that process.
It's exciting for you. I had a buddy who had that surgery done, and it was night and day. He said afterwards, he's like, I didn't know that this is how much you should be breathing. Like, he was, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So it was pretty exciting. And again, the first couple of things he said we could try, I said, I've been doing both of those things for like a year now, and it's doing nothing. He's like, well, the next option, surgery. I'm like, sign me up. Like, where do I sign? So realistically, we're probably 6 months out at the very minimum, but it's exciting ahead, and I'm looking forward to after the recovery. So yeah.
What I'm hearing is Matt's getting a nose job. Okay.
Yeah.
Victor, how have you been, bud?
Good. My coworker had the same surgery, Matt, last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's feels like $1 million now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm dreaming of it.
Yeah. But for some reason the OHIP or whatever wouldn't cover it, because they thought of it as almost a cosmetic surgery.
An elective?
Yeah. Like,
oh, okay.
So
the stuff that they allow and
it depends maybe on.
But he's from Ukraine, so maybe they kind of. He's not like an official. He's not a citizen yet, so maybe that has something to do with it.
It might also depend on how severe the sleep disorder is, right? If Matt's sleep disorder is serious enough, then it'll get covered.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. We'll see. Anyway, there's light at the end of the tunnel is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So went up country to a Degen birthday party. So that was fun.
Up country is still Toronto.
Well, it was up country from the east.
Oh my God.
That's what the east guys call the west. Up country.
It's okay. Vice versa is the same.
That's right. I believe I was the only one that night that did a trick shot. So I threw the ball into the gutter, but it didn't end in the gutter. It bounced back out and knocked some pins down.
That's how bad a bowler Victor is.
Trick shots meant to be intentional.
No, you're not supposed to do that.
Victor, really quickly.
Yes.
So my father-in-law adored you. He loved his conversation with you, but one thing was leaked, and I need a quick explanation on this one. So he said, and Jen overheard this too. She's like, I'm blown away. Can you confirm when you travel by plane, do you go out of your way to do layovers?
I may or may not do that. Yes.
For the simple reason that you want to fly on extra planes in your trip.
Yes, because then you get two or more for the price of one, because you get multiple takeoffs and landings, and that's where all the fun is.
Everyone else, every normal person tries to avoid it at all costs, but Victor goes straight towards it. How many stopovers? Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take the one with 5 stopovers.
Who goes for more?
But ever since Linda discovered that, I kind of stopped doing that. But the funny thing, serendipitously, last year when we flew to Paris, we booked a direct flight, but it turned into 3 flights.
Yeah, I remember the odyssey
of
your
pretend
trip
to be really
to Paris.
upset.
I had to pretend to be upset.
Well, didn't you spend
could make you up if we
an
tried.
extra day in Germany or something like that when on your way to Paris?
Yeah, we were stuck in Frankfurt Airport for 6 or 8 hours. I can't remember.
Crazy,
but it was great because I love airports. So and I could give you a tour of the Frankfurt Airport now if I had.
Sure, you lived there like Tom Hanks in that one movie. What was that? Terminal. Yeah.
Speaking of travel, I need to take a Twitter poll on something that's recently come to light. I want to know what is normal. Is it normal when you're going on? Who does this? I want to know. If you're going on vacation, do you plan to what happens if you die while you're on vacation? Like,
what?
Do you? Yeah, this is what I want to know. Is this like a weird family trait that we have, that my family has, or is this an other people thing?
Before.
Like when you go, do you say, okay, here are my documents, so if I don't make it back,
but you have a little kid still, Tanya. So like I think.
Okay,
once
did
your
you
kids
used
are
to do
old,
that then when the kids were
Victor,
little?
my parents, whenever they go
we have
to
to take our
Portugal,
stupid kids with us when we travel.
whenever my parents to this day go to Portugal, I always get the phone call.
The rundown
telling me where the will is and where the important papers
where's
are.
The important documents.
I get it all the time.
But I want to know, does everybody do that? Is that like a global thing, or is that just like people with high anxiety problems?
I'm gone. Figure it out.
I'm surprised Victor, because I thought like Soviets were like, doom and gloom. Like you expect to die on every trip, and therefore you're prepared.
No, because like Linda believes with all her heart that if there's a plane crash and there's one survivor, it will likely be me.
You know what?
That might be the quote of the podcast.
Yes, we haven't even started.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Linda has a point there. There's some logic there for sure.
On the topic, if you remember back in '93, I think it was '93, there was a movie called Alive, which was based on a true story about the Uruguay rugby team, I think. Anyway, it was a pretty good movie. It was, they had to kind of
eat each other.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a remake. It's on Netflix now, and I think it's the Way of the Snow. Society of the really, I just watched it. It's really good. It's like it's a lot more authentic because it's actually they're speaking Spanish and it's just it's more from the point of view. It's just different, and if you are interested in that story, I recommend watching that movie. It was done really well.
Cool. I heard about it, but I hadn't. But I didn't know. So it's just a direct remake of the same story.
It's a direct remake. It's just done in a slightly more authentic way. It's less. It's not Hollywoodized,
right?
If that's a word.
Right.
Different take on the story.
Yeah. It's almost shot for shot done, like filmed very like the same. I mean, because it's a true story, right? So it's not it follows a very same linear line, but just different, a little different, and I'd recommend it.
Robbie says it's a great book. He read it when he was a teenager. Yeah,
I read a book once.
He read a book once. Good for you, Matt.
Thanks, bud.
And we finished Fargo season 5. Super good. Really recommend that.
Nice.
And if you haven't watched the previous seasons, you don't have to, because each season stands on its own. But it's the final episode just dropped this week.
It's on the list,
and it was just super good. Couldn't recommend it more.
All right, Jez, how have you been, bud?
Been pretty good. I think I alluded to, or somebody asked how the weather's been down here. So it's 28 now. Over the weekend just gone, it got up to 41 degrees. So that's 106 in Fahrenheit. Now, instead of trying to keep cool like everybody else did, I, as kind of mentioned off the top, I play cricket, decided to go stand out in the sun in the middle of a field for best part of 6 hours. That was nice.
Ill-advised.
A lot of water. Yeah. And the thing about cricket as well is the better you do, the longer you're actually out there for. So it's kind of counterintuitive to do better. And unfortunately, I played the best game I've played all season. So with the bat, did very good. Was out there for an hour.
How many
or so
days?
with all
You got like
equipment.
lots of wickets and stuff. That's all I know about cricket. Wickets.
So I have subsequently turned into a batter keeper. So I have protective equipment on the entire time, which is really quite stupid. But no, I got 58 with the bat. Again, I'm not sure how much. I take it you guys know nothing about cricket, even though Canada is actually in the World Cup coming up in June,
Okay.
Go sports.
Yeah.
Go sports. So the first game I think is Canada versus USA. And I just had a quick look into it, and one of the places they're playing in New York, I think, is in a ground in Hicksville. So there you go.
Wow.
All comes back around.
Yeah.
So yeah, so playing
See, up here
cricket,
we play in the snow. It's really hard to find the ball.
They did do ice cricket for a while. I think our
Ice
nice we
cricket.
had actually playing on ice. That was hilarious, watching sports stars fall over everywhere.
It's our home
so, yeah,
advantage. We
So,
played
yeah, that
a World Cup soccer qualifying match against Jamaica in Edmonton, and there was literally snowbanks in the corner of the fields. So when the Canadians scored, they would dive into the snow. They were so excited, and the Jamaicans were like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Have you guys ever seen the movie? Have you guys ever seen the movie The Grand Seduction? It's I could be misquoting by saying it's based on a true story, but I kind of think it is. It takes place in Newfoundland, and it's like a small town who basically they're going to lose a big deal with a factory. Like it's a super small town. There's no work, but if they want the factory, they need a doctor.
Okay.
So the whole idea of the movie is they bring in this doctor, gets stuck there for a short period of time, and now they're trying to trick him into thinking this is the place he needs to live so that they can get the factory. But the doctor is obsessed with cricket, so the whole town pretends like they know how to play cricket.
Oh,
and they set up like a game on the side of like a cliff in Newfoundland, and no one knows what the fuck they're doing, but they're trying to show, oh look, yeah, we love cricket out here. We got our own team. But
I love it.
don't know.
Sounds great.
Maybe,
I'll have to
yeah,
check
great
that out.
movie if you've never seen it. By the way, Grand Seduction.
Have to give it a crack.
Yeah.
So yeah, managed to try and out in the heat. Recovered from that after a couple of days. So finally, kind of Tuesday was back to being normal, and had to go through the first process of 3 of getting a root canal. So that was nice and fun.
You're getting 3 root canals?
In 3 stages. So clearing it all out, putting bits in, and then putting other bits in. Apparently, I wasn't paying that much attention. I was just trying not to just cry. But disco dentistry's come a long way, so you can just listen with noise cancelling headphones. So you just listen to podcast. I was listening to you guys while I was having a root canal.
Oh,
wow.
perfect. Some might say listening to us is the same as having a root canal, but bless you.
That's like a nail biting experience.
That's what some of my fans feel like when they write their reviews about me.
I am so sorry you had to go through that.
Well,
that sounds terrible.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jez.
Was there something else?
Was there something else?
No, that was
just.
All right. Let me just run through the Twitter roll call real quick here. So welcome to new followers. Ryan Romsberg from the 330, Matt Swanson, Corn Dog Horn Dog from the Danger Zone, Lisa Fancher from Hollywood, Tom Jode, Squiggles, Trevor Grimston from Vancouver, JM from Ontario, Brian Kime from Stevensville, Michigan, Bad Mittens from Milky Way Galaxy, Ray Baranowski from Bensalem, Pennsylvania, Joe G from the OC from Mandalore, but maybe Risa, Justin Jones from Omaha, Nebraska, Double Dog from On His Harley, OC Steve from Orange County, Tara Devan Swisher, Devan Switcher, John R from Baltimore, Get Lit with Kit, Mouse, Amanda Marie from Wisconsin, Matt Oltz, Kristen Sukas Kranick from Detroit, Jen, Dwayne Henry, Mystery, Jack Lucene from Quebec, Brett Broadway from East Rutherford, New Jersey, Jordan Barassa from Moose Jaw, Francis Kisia Mwavali, Potter from Barcelona, Samson Hannalicious from St. Louis, Carl from everywhere, Chris Wynn from Ottawa, Hot Nonsense Pod, RJ, Stand Up Rookie, Lee Dixon Cox from Grover, North Carolina, Carrie Taylor Brown from Tulare, California, Dwayne Gliwa, Conoco from all over the world, Holly Mark from Carmel, Indiana, Bay Brawler 415 from Reno, Jamie Lumley from Lossiemouth, Scotland, Jesse L., Dr. Microb from Wisconsin, Chad Rivette, Eddie Veteran, Lucas Nyan, and Celtic Nerd. Thank you for following and hopefully for listening.
Previously on Letterkenny.
Let's see here. Last week we recapped and reviewed episode 2 of season 12 Letterkenny Sudden Darts. That episode was a unicorn, receiving fresh ratings from all our panelists, including our guest Zach, who isn't even a country music fan. According to our scientific Twitter poll, 81.4% gave it a fresh, 16.9% gave it a clearance, and 1.7% gave it a compost. This week we recap and review episode 3, season 12. I'm A Degen. Have you done your homework? I've done my homework. Tanya, have you done your homework?
It is.
Matt, have you done your homework?
Trice.
Victor.
It is.
Yeah. It loses something when somebody beats you to it, right? And Jez, have you done your homework?
Somewhere between 3 to 4 or maybe 4 to 6 times.
Wow, here we go.
Well, don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
We open with Squirrely Dan, Katy, and Wayne hanging out at the tractor shed. The topic of the moment, boating. Squirrely Dan says McMurray has a rich uncle with a yacht, docks it down Marcos Islands, Floridas, and takes it down to Dominicans a couple of times a year. Katy would love to go yachting down Dominican. Wayne would prefer the Everglades. Last time Katy checked, Wayne would rather not go boating at all. Wayne hates boating. Squirrely Dan asks Wayne what he has against boating.
There's always a dick on a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just hooped.
Katy suggests that maybe Wayne's the dick. Wayne admits he could be, or he might not, or he mightn't. So he put it to the test. He went solo boating to find out if he was the dick or if it was the boaters. He borrowed Joint Boy's tin can, not Tyson's twin-engine speeds boats, because he isn't the type of prick to go speedboating. Pete McNichols tossed him off the back of one of those cocksuckers as a child, and he never recovered. So he's out on JB's boat a wee bit up the lake there. He took his shirt off because he's got one of those types of farmer tans that might make a person think there might be something wrong with him. Katy reminds him he doesn't have any swim shorts. She asks him what he wore for bottoms. Wayne says he just rolled up his jeans a wee bit there. He went full Huck's fins, according to Squirrely Dan.
So wait, you're solo, on a boat, tarp off, farmer tan flying.
Full Huck fins.
That's exactly what I am.
Why?
Because I'm the type of prick who could boat by a fella standing out there, solo boating, tarp off, farmer tan flying.
Full Huck fins.
And keep my opinions to myself.
Not one to rock the boat.
I'd mind my beeswax, just boat right by.
Then Katy asks WWBD, what would boaters do? Wayne sees 3 boats heading down the river towards him. He figures this will be the test. If one of them trips him, there's always a dick on a boat. And if none of them do, maybe he's the dick.
Well, first boater comes boating up starboard there. Fella says, I stay in the water. I said, sure. And he says, you ever think about throwing yourself in there with a tan like that?
Oh, for once.
Okay, and the second?
Well, next boater comes boating up port side there. Fella says, quite a look. I said, sure. And he says, maybe if you had any friends, they'd tell you what a retard you look like.
He didn't say it. Boaters did.
There's always a dick on a boat.
Well, no, there's a dick on 2/3 of the boat so far, which is looking good for your theory.
Not looking good for boaters, those.
Well, then the third boat comes boating on up there. We're about. Fella says, you're quite a sight out here on the water. A solo boating, tarp off, farmer tan flying, full Huck fin. Takes guts. I applaud it.
That smells of late W's for the boaters.
Wait for it.
And then he says, especially since it's common knowledge Huck Finn and that other fella used to fuck each other up the ass.
Oh for 3s.
Gotcha, big brother. I get why you don't like boating.
There's always a dick on a boat.
And cue the theme. All right. I'm up first for the cold open. Meh. It was just meh. It was fine. There's nothing too spectacular about it. It was amusing. I feel like every time Wayne said boatin', he sounded more and more like that G.I. Jehovah from a few seasons ago, the way he would say it all the time. Boat. It's a boat. What? It's a boat, not dancing. That's what it's a boat. But and so it was cute. There was nothing too spectacular about it, but there's also nothing horrible about it. I think it was just kind of right down the middle. Tan?
I have to agree with you. There wasn't anything that really stood out. It was just a conversation, and I didn't really find anything overly humorous. I thought Squirrely Dan's comment that he was going full Huck Finn was good, but again, there wasn't anything that took it over the top for me. It was interesting that Katy was in the triangle.
Yeah.
Because usually it would be Dary that sits there, and
Good observation.
The guys usually have the talk. And yeah.
I found it amusing though that Wayne does not own swimming trunks, so he only ever wears jeans. Is that what we're led to believe? Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same trend here. It felt like an old fashioned Letterkenny Open, but middle of the ground. Like, it was fun.
Yeah.
The banter was humorous. The repetition was there. All the things that we've come to know and love about Letterkenny. But did it stand out as something like highly memorable? No. The full Huck Finn thing definitely made me laugh.
Yeah.
I could have heard him jumping with that. And however, I'm not going to say it wrong, but however he was saying, I might be.
Or mightn't. Yeah.
He said that. Did anyone catch? He said it in a really weird way.
He said,
but
could might be.
It could might be.
Or could might.
And did you see the tongue happen after that? So
Yeah,
as soon as he said it, the little tongue flick that he did.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed
like
the
that.
template.
That made me laugh for sure. That just how he pronounced that. I got a good chuckle. But at the end of the day, again, it was fine. I didn't dislike it. Didn't love it. It was a fun way to start the episode.
Victor?
That did not float my boat.
Oh, there you go.
So I like planes. I like trains.
You don't like boats?
I'm partial to boats. I
draw
like
the line
big
of
ships.
boats.
I like big ships.
But you cannot lie.
I cannot lie. I do like big ships. I cannot lie. I like them. I like the cross sections. So when I was in Hebrew class, not really understanding what they were trying to brainwash me with,
dear.
I was drawing pictures of big ships, but the cross sections of them, where you could see every floor of the
Right.
But it wasn't people on the ships. The ships were constructing cars, so every floor was a different area of construction. Where on one floor they were building the body, on the other floor they were building the engine, on the other floor they were doing the assembly, on the next one they were doing the painting and the finishing. This is like stuff that could go for big money today. I still have it. It's fine art. Anyway, so that's my experience with ships. But as far as the cold open, I felt I couldn't. It was not relatable. I didn't really understand the whole. There's always a dick on a boat. Like I guess my experience with boats is when you're on a work, you have before COVID, you used to do fun things, and you'd have like company parties on boats and things like that. And I guess there was always somebody that drank too much or whatever. But
that's
it was
all
more
boaters.
Yeah, but that was
All
more
boaters.
like the Matt experience. It wasn't, it's like, he's just having fun and he just doesn't turn into a dick.
It was a research project. He needed to know if he was the dick or if boaters were the dick. He went out.
Go ahead, Matt.
And I understand the concept. Like, what you could relate it to anything where something is in tight quarters, right? It's the whole idea is that when you're in tight quarters somewhere in a situation like that, if someone's a dick, you're hooped in. Like, you're stuck with that shit, and you just have to play it out. So I can understand the logic. I mean, I've been on lots of boats. Maybe I'm the dick. I don't know. I'm gonna say I was about to say I don't remember any, but it very likely. Damn it!
He remembers getting on the boat, but not getting off the boat.
He's thrown off the boat.
Always a dick on a boat.
I think I've talked about this in the past, I'm sure, but a yearly gig that my band plays every year is at a marina up in Aurelia, and it's to boaters. Basically, they set us up on a floating barge, and we're facing tons and tons of yachts, and they're all looking down at us, and we're playing music for them.
Are yachts in the same category though as a boater? Like,
yeah, well,
yachts are like a category of their own.
Anyway, these people
like
can
yachts
drink. Oh my God, can they drink? They'll drink you anyone under the table, because that's all they do is they hang out on their boat and they drink. And you know, when they're not, of course, they're tied up because they don't drink in boat. That's not allowed. But anyway, they know how to party. But I can kind of see Wayne's point. But at the same time, I don't have any experience with. They were all very, very nice to me.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice to me. Jez, what do you think of this?
First time through, I wasn't that impressed, but I think it kind of lost its way. It started out with a lot of boat puns, which floats my boat. My wife actually works in the maritime industry and went through a morale building exercise of seeing how many boat puns could be used in official communique without it going.
It sounds like a Letterkenny writing assignment, really.
I wrote a very quick pandemonium kind of thing, but thought, that's not appropriate. But there's a list of a heap of those, and really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of moved away from that. So I think there was only 7 puns they did, and that was all in the first kind of minute. And then after that, it went on a story. So it was kind of neither here nor there. It wasn't telling a funny story or putting in the amount of jokes, the quantity of jokes. It was just neither. But a few small things I noted. So I mentioned the tongue. It seemed very windy in terms of just the barn doors absolutely blowing a gale. So I don't know how hard that would have been to film. And what was the last thing? No, that was So okay, same as you guys.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The wind, and I was thinking. Like I remember being there and seeing that setup, and I think Al, you went up.
Oh hell yeah! They opened that as soon as they opened that door. I went up
straight up,
and I can't. The stairs, I can't really see having a conversation in that way with that wind. I don't think it would be audible. I don't think.
So was it windy when you guys were up there?
No, it was quite nice.
I feel like it was windy.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
You guys were dressed in jackets. I was still wearing shorts, so yeah.
That's true. You were.
I think they changed it around. I meant to try and find some more cold opens from that tractor shed. The only one I could find was Katy's Big Tarts, and I noticed that.
Well, the uncle, Uncle Eddie's story?
Trust.
Yeah, when he's talking about Eddie going to the sock hop, that was I think in front of the tractor shed as well.
I think so, yeah.
But I noticed Katy's Big Tarts was season 10, I think, and it had actually all changed up. So the tractor and the stairs were in a different location. The giant red sign that I noticed in my 3rd or 4th viewing was actually in a different location. So I don't know how much they change it round per season or.
I don't know. And Tobias reminds us the Easter episode. Yeah, I remember Squirrely Dan being very drunk sitting out front of that tractor shed because he was the first one out on the Easter egg hunt, and he got to start drinking earlier than everyone else. Anyway, let's move on here to scene 1. Squirrely Dan sitting alone at the produce stand when Dary arrives. Squirrely Dan asks him where he's been. Dary says nowhere. Squirrely Dan asks him how the food is in nowhere. Dary attempts to change the subject by commenting on Squirrely Dan's Mennonite hat, calling it a good fire starter. Squirrely Dan says you could do a lot worse. Dary asks Squirrely Dan if he thinks he could ever move out to Mennonite country. Now it's Squirrely Dan's turn to change the subject. He asks Dary why he smells like campfire smoke. Dary doesn't answer. He just asks where Wayne and Katy are. Wayne's shorn and Katy's waiting for Shots in the Farms. That's an agricultural magazine who are coming out to do a photo spread on the property. Dary wonders what makes this farm so special. Katy interrupts. It's the oldest working farm in Letterkenny. Could be the oldest working farm in the country, adds Wayne. And then Katy asks the question that's on everyone's mind.
I was told you were hanging with Degens.
What did you say?
I said you must be mistaken.
Dary wouldn't hang out with Degens.
Yeah, the ones I was hanging out with weren't Degens.
See, Dary wouldn't hang out with Degens.
But then they took me to a place where there were Degens.
You were hanging out with Degens?
No, the ones I was hanging out with weren't Degens. Their friends were Degens.
Show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are.
So, like, you were hanging out at the mansion?
No, it's called the palace now.
Last I heard, it was called the Kingdoms.
The Lions Den. These are decent people.
Yeah, when they're not putting out darts on dogs.
They are.
Yeah, when they're not getting their third DUIs.
These guys are different.
Yeah, when they're not grown men picking up their girlfriends from high school.
I told you, the ones that I was hanging out with weren't degens. It was their friends that were degens.
And what did I tell you?
Dary gets his back up, tells him he's got more in common with them than he does with the Hicks. They don't make fun of how he dresses or smells, and they think he's pretty funny and cool. This gets Wayne's back up now. He asks Dary who thinks he's cool. Dary answers Mick and his sister too. Wayne stands there, arms crossed. He takes quite a beat before responding, but then he finally responds.
While you're a degen now, Dary, why don't you run inside and farmer spit on the carpet?
Wayne.
Hey, they show you how to take out a dart and throw in a dip yet?
Wayne.
Bet you never had so much fun as putting a cat in the dryer, eh?
Wayne.
Wayne storms off. Scene 2. Riley and Jonesy sitting at the bar at Modine's. They're trying to get Gail to have an eye on a group of girls on their 6 o'clock, but really it's their 9 o'clock. They get into an argument of 6 and 9, which inevitably turns into a conversation about 69s. But they all finally look over to a group of attractive girls at the far end of the bar. 6 9s at their 9. But then Gail sees a 9 at Riley and Jonesy's actual 6. They turn around excitedly to find Harley, which disappoints them. They call her a soft 9. She calls them a combined soft 9. Jonesy goes on to call her a name, but she beats him to it. Is she a degen? Both Riley and Jonesy think she's a little too snipey to be a degen. The rest of the attractive girls join Harley. They're all proud degens. Both Mickey and Dary enter the bar and call the girls to join them. The degens all leave, including Dary. Riley and Jonesy sit at the bar dejected, but their pity party is interrupted by Tanis and Shania.
Did Daryl just leave with a bunch of degens?
I don't know. Some of them seemed okay to me.
Yeah, when they're not eating pizza pops with a box cutter.
A couple seemed okay to me, too.
Yeah, when they're not stomping their feet at birds.
Kind of snipey.
Yeah, when they're not hanging bed sheets over their windows.
Didn't think they were snipey at all.
They're fucking degens, dumb shit. I'm disappointed in yous.
Next scene, back at the farm. Katy's outside, sitting at a picnic table, waiting for the person from a shot in the farm magazine to arrive. She finally pulls up. Her name is Lily. And before you ask, yes, she too finds the name of the magazine embarrassing. Production note, Lily is played by Ella Cannon, an Australian actress from Melbourne, known for Trees of Peace, iZombie, and The Irrational. The two hit it off immediately when Katy compliments Lily on her remarkable tan. Lily just got back from Mexico. The two bond over their love of Mexico, tanning, margaritas. Katy's been thinking a lot about Mexico since she left. Lily asks her if she would ever consider moving there. Katy responds, if they were in Mexico right now, they'd be having margaritas. She offers Lily a margarita. Lily enthusiastically accepts. Scene 4. Stuart and Roald are dressed up in suits, sitting in armchairs, under very dramatic lighting. It turns out they're debating a right-wing intellectual on the internet, but they're doing it all with alliterative style.
Where do you think morality comes from?
In what context, Ben?
Without a set of rules from a Judeo-Christian handbook, wouldn't we all just be out here killing and raping each other?
Yes. When Jesus walked with Judas and the Jews, the Judeo-Jesuits judged Judy justly. It really was counterproductive to counterculture at an over-the-counter discount.
But it shaped civilizations.
While being a sort of Machiavellian, earmarked aftermarket Marky Mark and the Marxist bunch.
You can't say that the Judeo-Jesuits judged Judy.
I said judged Judy justly. Don't put words in my mouth.
But you can't say that without first acknowledging that Galileo was originally sponsored by the church, and so was Copernicus.
But ideally, that sort of ideology deters idiocy and eliminates idyllic ideas ideologically and idiosyncratically.
We can't forget that Copernicus was a Capricorn and coincidentally a Cancer, can we? Confucius say, Colin Kaepernick?
It's always a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ben.
Be well, Ben.
Be well.
The lights come on, and as Connor slams the laptop shut, Stuart seems frustrated. Has it really come to this? Have they really done everything fun there is to do while doing Snooters? Have they exhausted Snooters? Stuart announces that they need a Rips revelation to reignite their love of Snooters. They need to surround themselves with other lovers of Snooters. They have to be Snooter recruiters, tutors of Snooters, Snooter rebooters. Connor and Dary wonder out loud where they should go. Stuart corrects them. The party is always in their basement. Why take it elsewhere? This gets Roald very excited.
Are we doing it, Stuart?
Are we finally doing it, Stuart? Don't tease me, Stuart. Don't tease me, Stuart.
We're doing it, Roald. The After Hours Club Letterkenny has never asked for, but the one she shall get.
What's our angle, Stuart?
Sex.
Oh, what's so sex?
Oh, what's so sexy?
What's so sexual?
We will have the sexiest, most sexual sexualities, and we shall.
Like Hooters? Like Hooters?
Precisely, roll. Like Hooters. But Snooter!
Next scene, Wayne is in the barn moving hay or barley from one spot to another. Just then, the phone rings. It's Rosie checking in from Vancouver Island. She asks if the rumors are true that Dary is hanging out with Degens. Wayne's confident that Dary will come around. Rosie asks what's gotten into him. Wayne's told there's like a charming one. Rosie can't imagine a charming Degen. Wayne's also been told he's got a sister that's good looking. Rosie asks Wayne his opinion. He takes a beat to answer and then finally admits he can understand why others might find her good looking. Then Rosie gets down to why she's calling.
I've missed it out here. Vancouver Island is gorgeous.
Well, who doesn't love those mountains?
Who doesn't love that ocean?
Good place to go boating.
Great place to go fishing.
Great fishing out west.
Would you think of moving here? Gotcha.
Why? Would you think about moving there?
I just wonder how important being the toughest guy in Letterkenny needs to be to you anymore.
I've had this conversation before.
It's fine if it is. I just wonder, maybe it isn't. And hey, if you came out here, you'd get to meet this shithead.
Oh! Who is that?
Tank.
Oh, he is a bull.
Better believe he's a bull.
Oh, he is such a bull.
Smash cut to Mick at the Degen camp, kicking away a mutt and calling it a dumb shit fuck. Quite the contrast to the previous scene. Mickey is slowly showing more and more Degen behavior. One of the girls asked Dary how he described himself in 3 words, and Mick, impressed with the question. Yeah, he didn't expect that coming from a dumb broad like her. Her friend and her other friend are really dumb looking too. Mickey decides to go first. The 3 words he described himself as would be loves to rip. He counts off each word, ending in a shocker hand gesture. He takes another turn, this time with hyphenated words. He says air bass, air drums, and air guitar. Once again, ending with the shocker hand gesture. It's Dary's turn. Mickey interrupts. Funny is for sure one of the words. The girls add cute for sure. And then Jiving Pete interrupts with the 3rd word.
Degen. Isn't that right, Daryl? You're a Degen now?
Of course he is. But the 3rd word is cool. My sweetie is funny, cute, and cool.
Harley tells the 3 girls hovering around Dary to beat it and assumes her place on his lap, calling him the funniest, cutest, coolest Degen there. Alistair Orson Westwood Yates challenges Dary to say it, to admit that he's a Degen. This leads to some prolonged mangling of the English language.
Then say it, Daryl.
He's Degen, you fucking Degen. No need to beat a sleeping dog.
I think it's let sleeping dogs die, Harley.
No, it isn't.
She means don't kick a dead dog while it's down.
No, what you're trying to say is don't kick spilt milk.
Is it that big a deal? Jesus. No need to cry over a dead horse, eh, Daryl?
Say you're Degen.
Aren't you full of piss and giving her?
Don't you got bigger fish to try?
Squeaky wheel gets the worm.
There ain't a snowball show until he'll say it, Mick.
Hey, listen, not my pig, not my business.
You want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth?
What horse?
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Well, I ain't seen no horse. But the rat's out of the bag, Daryl.
This is the lion's den. Degens only. If you're a Degen, say it.
Hey, just say it, Daryl.
Yeah, just...
I'm a Degen.
This makes the other Degens very happy, but it isn't enough. Driving Pete dares Dary to now say it to the camera. Dary gets pressured from Harley and Mickey. He starts off saying it sheepishly, then prodded on. He gets louder and louder until...
I'm a Degen! Even louder! I'm a Degen!
You last proudest.
Turns out you can lead horse to water.
I know why Dary likes hanging out with them, because he's truly the smartest one there. Next scene, back at the farm, Katy and Lily are sipping margaritas and checking out pictures, the pictures that Lily has taken of the farmhouse for the magazine. Katy is a fan of her work, and Lily is a fan of Katy's margaritas. So much a fan, in fact, that she can't drive home. She's had one too many. This is exciting to Katy. She's shown Lily a day at the farm, and now she gets to show her a night in the town. Katy is taking her to Modine's. Lily asks if she'll meet any dudes down there. Katy says, sure, if you're looking for a John Deere. Lily loves the sound of that. Next scene, cut back to the Degens party. They're all having a great time, including Dary. Wayne is hiding in the bushes watching Dary with Harley. Next scene, at Modine's, Stuart and Roald pop up at the bar, literally. They butter Gale up with some compliments.
I know I'm not the first to think it tonight, nor do I hope I'm the first to say it. You look ravishing.
When I saw you across the bar, there occurred an uncharacteristic reaction in my pants. I said, what's happening to me?
He didn't know what was happening.
I said, what's this happening to me?
He didn't know what was happening.
What was happening?
The sight of a woman had made me excitable.
A full stimulus package.
Like a Homo erectus.
Gale cuts to the chase. What do they want? To pay their bar tabs? The skids panic, then dive into more flattery before asking Gale for permission to pass around their flyers promoting their Snooters After Hours Club.
Snooters After Hours Club?
Very sexy, very sexual.
Like Hooters.
But Snooters.
You want me to advertise my competition inside my own bar?
False! We are not your competition. Quite the contrary. When do we open?
When you close.
We don't even serve booze. We serve
Rips.
Incorporate the name.
Sorry, Snooters.
Okay.
Green light.
If you pay your bar tab.
How much is it?
You know I don't mention it till it's over 200.
200? 200? $200? Dollars? I'm not gonna get $200.
Oh, man!
No!
Look what you've done to us! You've ruined everything before it started!
Next scene, Wayne is having a dart outside Modine's when his phone rings.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Squints.
Ring around the Rosie.
How are you now?
Good, and you? Not so bad.
I'm gonna bounce something off you.
Pitter patter.
Whenever it's time to come out here, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And now, again, it's time to come home, and I'm not excited.
Ouch. Cut to the skids outside of Modine's electrical panel. Rolled hands Stuart wire cutters. Cut to inside the bar. Katy and Gale are talking when suddenly the power cuts out in the bar. Bad night to lose AC. It's about to get dank in there.
How unfortunate.
How unfortunate!
How unfortunate.
How unfortunate!
How
unfortunate!
But you are in luck. Letterkenny's first and only After Hours Club is now open.
After hours?
Yeah, it's like Hooters.
But Snooters.
407 Birds Eye Maple Lane. Come on, come on.
What's on the menu? Bro dude, water, and
Wraps.
incorporate the names. Sex. Sexuality. Sexual orientation. Consent.
Cut back to Wayne. Cut back to Wayne outside. His call with Rosie ends. It doesn't sound like it ended well. Wayne just stands there blinking. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "John Deere!" It's Lily. She's looking at Wayne thirstily. Katy comes out of the bar too. They're out of there. It's starting to smell like dudes in there. Lily's disappointed. Katy says not to worry. They're going to an after-hours club. Wayne's confused. Katy introduces her brother to Lily. Lily continues to undress Wayne with her eyes. Katy asks if Wayne's hammered. He isn't. Good, because he's driving. Next scene, final scene, cut to the skids' basement. The after-hours club is in full swing, set to the song "Fuck My Nose Up" by Hudes. A bunch of bikini-clad women are dancing. It's dark and smoky. Stuart and Roald sit on their throne-like armchairs in their suits. Connor and Darian bring each a platter filled with snooter, and we fade to black. All right. That's the episode.
Like a lot of scenes. Is that just a lot of cuts between?
Yeah, there's a lot of
bits
quick
and
cuts.
pieces?
A lot of really quick cuts. Because as far as length goes, it's a very normal, regular episode, around 23 minutes, so not too bad. Okay, so I'm up first with this one. And yes, it's a very regular episode. It's one of these. I feel like it's a transition episode. I think it's moving the story forward, but it really didn't have a lot of standout moments in it that would make me, say that this is an outstanding episode in any way. It was amusing. I loved the mangling of the English language by the Degens. I thought that was a lot of fun. Like every one of those saying
proverbs or whatever.
Yeah, proverbs were just wrong enough to be to be very wrong.
Like you want to use them though. Like,
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones in there. And like I said earlier, I feel like that's why Dary likes being there, because he actually feels smart in that group of people. Whereas in the Hicks group, he's the dumb one. In this group, he's the one using the proverbs properly, leading a horse to water and all that stuff. Yeah, the skids were fun again in this one. And I liked meeting Lily. I thought she was an interesting character to throw in there, and looked like that might be a possible like love interest for Katy, but then she turns around and starts eyeing Wayne up and down. So that'll be interesting to see what comes of that. But yeah, overall, kind of just a mediocre episode, because I think it's just like a transition episode. I think it was just there to move the story along. Okay.
This episode took me on a roller coaster, really. There was a lot of emotion. Seeing Dary coming to the produce stand. We haven't seen him there in a couple of episodes. So it was like exciting. It's like, okay, here he is. He's back.
Yep.
This is all right. Everything's going to be okay. And, the ping pong conversation between him and Squirrely Dan. And then that intensity of Katy and Wayne coming into that conversation and then calling it out. It was like the elephant in the room that he's been hanging out with the Degens, and watching that kind of, facial expression on Wayne, and then flashing over to Dary and, that friendship being strange now, and how they feel about the Degens. And Dary kind of saying they're not all bad. It was a challenging scene to watch, because like in one part, you're excited that Dary's there, and then seeing that it's not over. But yeah, there was a lot of things going on. I did like what Wayne had said. Are you a Degen now? And he referenced grown men picking up their girlfriends from high school. I had a flashback to a girl that was in high school and getting picked up by a grown ass man, and the ick on that was so like, I remember being young and feeling that ick, and I loved that he called that one out, because that is such a Degen move, and grown men should really know better. Ick. But yeah, we had a lot of people in this episode too. Tanis was there, sitting at the table.
I almost forgot about Tanis and Shania. Like, it was such a quick scene.
Tanis, Shania, Riley, Jonesy, Gail. That whole which 6, which 9, and you knew that the dum-dums didn't know. But yeah, the new introduction of Lily and Katy, and talking about Mexico, and that's what I had tonight. Couldn't remember. It was a mango margarita, so I was channeling this episode, not even realizing that I went to a Mexican place and having margaritas myself.
But you would never move to Mexico.
Oh God, no! It would kill me. It would kill me.
Why?
Mexico hates me. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Yeah. No, I always go to the hospital after coming back from Mexico. I don't do well, and it tries to take my insides out, and I want them to stay in. Anyways. So
that's fair.
Yeah, it is. I've been twice. It's not a Mexico thing. It's a me thing. So I'm just going to take myself out of that equation. Stuart ruled that whole weird thing of them being on the computer and having an intellectual conversation while on Snooters. Weird. Like, what was happening? The chairs, the hands pressed together, having kind of that alphabetic aerobics on just certain words or certain letters. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of alliteration during that.
Yeah,
thing. It was a well written scene, but it was kind of out of place.
It was well written, yeah, but I didn't quite get what was happening. But Plywood and Darian having lines again, which was it's always nice to hear.
Ironically, on an episode about doing lines. Anyway, move
on. Wayne and Rosie, that whole thing happening, that conversation getting stranger and stranger. I do have to call out the first conversation when Rosie is in the truck and the dog is is behind her, and she introduces Wayne to the dog, and his reaction, oh my God, it was the best. I really loved how he pitched his voice and the excitement that we got from him, because Wayne doesn't usually change his monotone. It's usually like one Wayne that we get. And
unless the dog's involved.
Unless the dog's involved, and then you get excited, Wayne.
And that was Rosie's only hope to convince him to move to Vancouver.
Yeah, that was her kind of dangling that carrot, right? Like, look at this big guy. The whole thing with the Degens and Dary and sitting there and the girls, and oh my God, I just wanted to punch Mick. But I did find it like the whole "don't kick spilt milk." Like, how difficult would those lines have been to say?
To say wrong.
To say so wrong. Like, I can see, I would have been tripping over them, and I'm dyslexic, so that would have been it should be easy. Lily's staying on the farm, the G-Gen party, that was an interesting turn of events. Wayne and Rosie having that second call and her saying she doesn't enjoy, she's not looking forward to coming home, which ouch. And then Lily brushing into Wayne and doing the whole flirt walk past. And that was just like, what's happening? Like, wait a second. But wait a second. Like, the iron's not even cold yet.
She doesn't know he's involved. She's taking her shot.
What is happening?
Yeah, Wayne's happy to beat a guy up for doing the same thing to Rosie in episode 1.
Fair enough.
Exactly. Jess gets it. Jess gets it.
Is that what you're going for?
Yeah,
Okay.
like yeah.
Are you saying Lily's a Degen?
I don't know. She's not a DJ. It's just Wayne. It's different. It's like what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander, sort of thing, or however the Degens would say that. Anyways, yeah, it was a lot. It was a full episode, and it didn't really leave me feeling in a good way, because Wayne and Rosie, and then Lily's coming in, and then Dary's like yelling into the camera that he's a full out Degen.
There's a lot of allusion in these first 3 episodes to people moving on and leaving. We have Katy thinking about Mexico a lot. We have Squirrely Dan thinking about, leaving for the Mennonites a lot. We have Dary leaving for the Degens.
I don't like change.
Right? I know, but I think it's like they're setting something up, right? It's the last season.
Ow!
Matt, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. I like your description of a transition episode. I think that's accurate. There's a lot going on. I'll quickly call it a few, to me, highlights where I just kind of laughed and I thought were great. So one, the 69 banter between Riley Jonesy and Gail killed me. How they pulled that off, the timing on the 3 of them, and their genuine confusion of where was 6, where. I absolutely loved that moment. I mean, it was a quick moment for those guys, but that one hit hard really well with me. And
when Gail said she was almost brought on manslaughter charges for being the top of a 69, and that was pretty funny.
It was just such a great little moment there. The all the hits at the Degens really made me laugh. Like, the one that caught me was the eating your pizza pops with a box cutter. I love that line. There was just some really good, like, writing wise, this episode I thought was really good. The banter was really good. Like, you talked about those sort of idioms or the proverbs, whatever they were.
Yeah,
it's really smart. I agree. The scene with Stuart and Roald talking on the computer screen, that went way over my head. But I can appreciate lyrically what they did there, how they brought that together. It sounded really good, but I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. But all that to say, so yes, there were some funny moments, some entertaining moments, but what I did appreciate this episode was really pushing story forward, which I think they've had challenges on Letterkenny specifically in the past. I know, Victor, you're shaking your head. It's okay to be wrong. But there's a couple key things. So Dary alone, whether you like that line or not, I think they're doing a really good job of creating divides in their group, right? You mentioned some of them, they never had controversy amongst themselves, and we're really seeing that here. And I think I feel for Dary. I'm not. He's maybe he is a Degen. Maybe that's how it's going to end. But he's confused. He's not gotten the love from his peeps. He's getting love somewhere else, and he's probably having this sense of feeling liberated in these moments, even if he is in a Degen setting. So it's a hard one to watch because he's having this really weird reality check of, is this really what I am? Because this feels good.
Yeah.
And what do I do next? So I actually really like how they're playing this one out, and his divide with Wayne, especially how Wayne's getting angry at it and not
he's
sure
hurt.
how to deal with
Wayne's
it.
hurt.
Yeah.
I love the way he lashed out in that one scene where he's like, well,
Yeah.
Dary, you're a Degen now. And both Squirrely Dan and Katy are trying to say, Wayne, calm down. You're going to say something you're going to regret later. But he's saying that out of hurt. He's
This
hurt.
is his oldest friend, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what to read. And Wayne himself is a complicated dude, even though he may seem to. We can't figure him out. So I think he's just as confused by all this. So I actually really like that storyline.
Me too.
And then, of course, Wayne as well, Wayne and Rosie. I think they're doing a really good job of building up that and whatever's happening there. Those interactions are really emotional, and they're really bringing you into that while throwing in those subtle hits like, oh, he's a good boy, or look at that boy. Like, I love it. I think those interactions are absolutely brilliant. So they've hinted at everyone having their own, like you called it out, moment, the reason to leave Letterkenny, or the reason for some change that they never had change. So I like the idea of calling it a transition episode. Was it the funniest episode I've seen? No, by no means. Did I think there were some really smart things they did in this episode? 100%. I really like the story dynamic that's being created here.
Just want to give a shout out really quickly to Cassie. That the scene with the Degens are mangling all the phrases. She calls it idiots. Idioms by idiots.
Yes,
which I think is pretty funny. Victor.
Yeah, you guys have all been really kind in your descriptions. So
do you want
far.
to describe your background, Victor?
My background is a train wreck. So I don't know, like I was trying really, really hard to find something redeeming, something that I liked about this episode. And I really have to just it's like things like, oh yeah, Lily was all right, I guess. She, she seemed like a nice person. Katy was a really good, gracious host, right? Things like that. There's just so many things that I don't like about this. First of all, it wasn't a good episode. I think it's really unfair to the Letterkenny fans to call this like a regular episode, because I think it was lower than that. There wasn't anything really done well about it. Like so first of all, the writing was always, as always it is, it was excellent. So it's not really about that, but in the world of the universe that we're talking about, the cold open was just okay. And then all the storylines that we kind of ran through, none of them really stood out. None of them really hit, except kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. And I never really liked the Letterkenny episodes that leave a bad taste in your mouth. And so let's talk about the Degens, right? So first of all, Mickey and Harley, they show up out of nowhere. Well, Mickey shows up out of nowhere and recruits Dary. Like, why is he recruiting them? Like, why does he even care about Dary? Like, why did he show up? Why did he put him up on, the comedy night or whatever the heck it was called?
Yeah.
Like, where did he come from, and why did he want to recruit Dary into their group? It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no backstory to that.
Maybe there isn't one. Maybe he's just a new guy in town, Dary
he's
appeals
a
to him.
Degen. So like, what is he up to? What's he trying to get out of this? So you're thinking,
You're
well,
giving
maybe
he's a Degen, but he's new to the group, right? He's visiting, so maybe.
But it makes you the way they did the episode, and the way that everybody found him to be suspicious. You would have thought that it's leading up to something, that it's some sort of a Ponzi scheme. They're going to trick him, and maybe that's still going to happen, right? But then it's like the next episode is like, no, now they're doubling down. Not only is Mickey a cool dude, now he's got his sister involved, and now she's like saying all these good things about Dary, and now they're hanging out, and she brought him to the group, and maybe these guys aren't so bad. And then you come to this episode where the part that I totally lost the Degens, and I said, you know what? No, these guys are the lowest of the low, because for Tanya, her triggering thing was with the picking up pick, what do they call it? Coming and picking up the underage student at the school. For me, it was about the darts, right? So, where Wayne is talking about, saying, oh, they put out darts on dogs and,
but you know what?
Putting cats in dryers. And then you go to the scene of Mick being cruel to that dog.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do that, it's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm not.
But no one's defending Degens.
Yeah, no one's
here.
defending Degens.
Just
it's not that they're defending them. It's the fact that Mickey and Harley show up, and it's like, oh, maybe they're not so bad, and Dary's now hanging out with them, and it's like, no, they are pieces of shit. And
agreed.
Yeah. I just don't. But there's no comeuppance here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just.
It's just, you don't know what's happening. This is building, right? This is.
I know.
So,
I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope about this.
What's your biggest worry?
Yeah. I mean,
my biggest worry is they're gonna kind of let them off the hook. I don't know. Like, I just don't. I don't get like what the backstory of
let them.
Yeah.
Off,
when has Letterkenny ever let the Degens off the hook? The Degens have always gotten their comeuppance.
Well,
always.
We'll see. I just don't. That whole storyline, I'm not jiving with it yet because I don't know where they're going. And I don't like it. I don't like as soon as you're hurting animals, I'm out. Is all I'm saying.
I think we all agree. There's a special place in hell for people like that, for sure.
Yeah. And just go, like, again, no one here is defending the Degens. The reality is, Dary's trying to understand his own acceptance, because even when that happened, he was there. Did he defend it? Did he say, "Whoa, no"? He's in a weird spot right now. They are pieces of shit. No one's going to argue that, but he's lost and trying to figure out, is this the place that he belongs? I don't think it's anything to do with the Degens. It's a Dary story.
And where the hell did that soccer team of hot sniper Degen girls come from? Like, where the fuck was that all about?
Well, again, I think they're looking. There's got to be a reason for Dary to question what group he belongs in, and there's got to be enough in the Degen world that would be appealing to Dary, right? Not just his acceptance, but
Dary
also
and Riley and Jonesy and anybody else that was.
Well, the women are appealing to Riley and Jonesy for sure.
You're also basing on this something. There's only good-looking girls in non-Degen community. That's not true at all.
Yeah.
They can still their moralities and how they treat life and approach things. Your looks have nothing to do with it. They just put it there as a distraction, but. It's
just funny that they just showed up on it. Where have they been hiding all this time?
They were in Donegal.
Fair enough.
They were in Donegal.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyway, like, so because the other storylines weren't really significant. So you can say Wayne and Rosie is a significant storyline, but that was just a phone conversation or two phone conversations.
But again, it's setting something up. It's leading to something.
Yeah, but it's like whatever.
So Victor, do you want story or do you not? Right?
And then the skids, like. It just, they cut the power so people will
he
come
wants
to
Shorzy season 3 is what he wants.
To their they cut the power so they come to their after hours party, but that doesn't make sense because apparently I think they're the only ones that do drugs, right? Because the Hicks always make fun of them for doing drugs, and now Katy's going to go to that pub after hours. They're not serving alcohol, so there's the whole thing is just off. The whole thing is off to me. Like, it's just off. It's just off.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything redeeming in this one.
All right, fine. Jez, what do you think?
Save us.
I think it's really good that I've come in after that spiel from Victor, because and hear me out before I finish this, I agree with a lot of the items that he actually said, but I think that's a positive. Right. I think and my word of the day, if we're doing a Sesame Street thing, is juxtapose. And so coming in after Victor, I think it was great how they had some really uncomfortable situations. I think, Tan, you mentioned it at the start in terms of that. It felt to me like family fighting. And then all of a sudden you're in the Skids basement where they're wearing 4-piece colourful suits out of the Matrix,
right,
alliterating with a right-wing whatever, and then you're back to the Rosie kind of stuff. So it builds a lot more story in this episode than almost any other story that that I think out of Letterkenny. It's almost like they've taken some of the Shorzy stuff in terms of trying to build that story up.
Yeah,
is it going to get there in one episode? No, but I don't know. It makes you feel uncomfortable, as I kind of mentioned, because of the conflict and the tension. But I think that's a good thing. And I was genuinely worried for the group when Katy and Wayne were almost pairing up, and I noticed how kind of Squirrely Dan was in there trying to mediate and be kind of on both sides, keep everyone together. I was genuinely feeling uncomfortable, but I think that's such a positive out of the show, that you can feel the feels for this, and then have something as stupid as the 6ix9ine jokes and the alliteration from the Degens, which I kind of all thought was funny. So, I mean, my biggest takeaway was, as I mentioned again, I'm getting paid by using the word juxtaposition, but talking about the dog when Rosie's got the camera on, and then I think you called it a smash cut to the dog getting treated completely differently. It's just, you go from, oh, this is comfortable, this is the Wayne that maybe even has emotions based on this dog, into what is this doing with an animal that he deserves to have his balls ripped off. And so it's kind of going from a like hot spa into an ice bath, kind of shock your system kind of thing. But then there was enough of the comedy bits that were standalone that kind of kept it going. So the release from the conflict. Other points, kind of, I love the cinematography in terms of this. Surprised you didn't raise this, kind of, Matt, but maybe it's something that's been happening already in the season. But just some of the shots around the produce stand, some of the shots in the basement, there just seems to be a lot more kind of
entering the basement. Yeah, that was kind of a neat little I don't know what you call it, a dolly or whatever going in, or steady cam probably, because yeah, it was really cool the way they did that. Yeah, there's a few, and
the tracking shot.
And the one around the produce stand is generally much slower, like almost imperceptible. But in the case of this episode, you're right, it was a little quicker, almost like a full rotation or 180-degree rotation of the produce stand. Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. And then I think most people have kind of mentioned a lot of the other small items in terms of what else I forgot. So I think Tanis popping up was really good, almost acted as that voice of reason. And because I think I do agree with you with this, Victor, that where is all these snipers coming from that are Degens? And I get that it's a story, and I get that, there's devices they kind of use, but I can't kind of draw that
was
link
a lot.
in real life.
That was a lot of snipers.
There's 6ix9ines.
But then Tanis kind of came in and went, doesn't matter, they're Degens, and kind of get back to the story, and then it kind of links back. So was it the cleanest of move? No, but I think it was better than if they hadn't had Tanis come in and explain that. I think probably the only other thing the two kind of minor points that did get on the nose a bit was Katy going fairly hard in that first scene. So, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And again, I'm not trying to defend Degens in any way, shape or form. But what was season 3 when she was with Shep and Kingsley, and I get that there was other benefits of that kind of thing, but it just seemed a bit of a
those two fat fucks.
And then again, when how does Mick have so much power? That what I don't get, and maybe that's why Dary's out. I mean, he loves the snipers, but all of a sudden having 3 of them sit on the chair, and Mick having 3 of them sit on the chair when he's obviously an idiot and treats them with no respect whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe it's a power thing as well as being the smartest guy in the class and all the rest of it. So that's probably the bits I wanted to raise.
So the folks in the live stream, they're playing the Pee Wee Herman thing where every time you say juxtapose, they're screaming like they would on Pee Wee Herman, just so you know. So we're going to move on to we're going to move on to ratings now. Luckily, we can't hear them. So look, this one here, I'm going to look at it in terms of what the intention is. And if you want story, you're going to have episodes like this where the story gets moved along. It might not necessarily be the most exciting or the most whatever, or the funniest, but things needed to happen. And what I love about this, because it is the last season, is they're setting up each main character, giving them a reason why they might want to leave, right? And I know Awesome had a lot to say about this, and when she was on, about we don't need to threaten people leaving to make this a satisfying ending, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going to happen. But I think teasing, giving people reasons that they might need to move on from Letterkenny, I think it's a fair thing to do, and because it adds to the drama of the whole thing, right? We're sad that it's over, and they're playing on our emotions, and we'll see where this heads. But anyway, I'm really enjoying that. Katy's thinking about Mexico, Squirrely Dan's thinking about being a Mennonite, Dary's thinking about being a Degen, Rosie's thinking about staying in Vancouver. I mean, these are all setting up for something, right? And I think this episode here. Oh, and the skids are questioning whether they need to be doing as much coke. They're questioning their whole snooter thing. So there's a lot happening in this episode that I really appreciate. And I will say this, I've said this before, a clearance is not a bad rating. A clearance just means it was good. There was just nothing outstanding there to push it into a fresh. So that's what I'm giving this one. I'm giving it a clearance. Tanya? Are you crying or?
Yeah, no, I'm having a moment.
Oh.
Can you do that? Sorry.
Oh. Well, everything okay?
This is award-winning podcasting.
So
over here.
how sorry about that. You know how Tanya says, Mexico and her don't agree with each other?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, it seems like Canadian Mexican might have the same effect. So she said, in case she doesn't make it back, her vote is clearance.
At least I'm glad it's just that. I was watching her for a minute. I'm like, is she okay over there?
Going through some clearance right now.
Sipping.
She's like, something bad is going to happen. I feel like I'm going to throw up trying to keep things down. Feels too much like Mexico.
I like that she wrote you some notes.
Well, she said it was an authentic restaurant, and well, this speaks to its authenticity. Anyway, so hopefully she'll come back. This reminds me, I think, of the flashback. And again, this whole season has a bunch of flashbacks to previous Letterkenny episodes. This is a flashback to when Matt left us halfway through an episode.
Oh, yeah, that was a rough one. I think I messaged I won't be back from the bathroom.
Yeah. So Tanya's
this
giving
is real life, guys. This is how it happens.
Tanya's giving this one a clearance.
Oh fuck.
Matt.
Oh,
you're ready.
Okay. So I don't know. I came in this one's strange. I'm giving it and I know Victor's like fucking fanboying, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving this one, it's not a high fresh, but it's a fresh because I enjoy the story arc.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I really like what they're doing with all the characters. I like that we're getting some controversy amongst the group. And I think they're telling it well. Are they perfect? No, like they're definitely, this was not a perfect episode, but I watched it 3 times. And each time enjoyed it just as much as the last. I'm like, there really is something about this because I mean, if you look at my movie watching, my show watching, I like myself a good drama as much as I love a comedy, right? Yeah. And this one, like I said, not the funniest episode, but I like the story, I like the drama. I was feeling things as I watched a lot of these scenes, and that's what you want in when you're watching things. You want to feel something, so it gets a clearance, or sorry, a fresh from me.
Okay.
I go with his first rating, please.
Victor, what do you give this?
This was a very quick and easy compost for me at the end of the episode.
You're giving it a compost.
And you know what? Like I've been really good. I haven't given. I can't remember last time I came in with a compost for any episode of Letterkenny.
Are we supposed to thank you for that? I mean, Victor, come on.
I'm really enjoying this season.
Do you want story or not? Like, this is giving you story.
You don't have to. Yeah, you can tell us. Come on, you guys are really pulling at strings.
No, not at all.
You're saying, you're talking about the season and the story. Just like I'm talking about the episode, okay? Yeah.
And
just
so am I.
bookend it with the cold open and the end. And the end was like the worst ever. Like they're ending with everybody going to the after party. It's like the stupidest after party ever that none of you would go to, and nobody in Letterkenny would go to except for the skids. So I mean, it's like it ends as like, oh, okay, they're now in the basement at the after party. Who cares? They're like, none of them are going to be doing this.
But none of us really focused on that. I'm talking about everything else. And we talk about the story arcs. Like we that's the reason I love that's the reason I love Shoresy so much, is because there's real stories. And we've talked about that in past seasons of Letterkenny. I can't remember, it was like somewhere in the middle, like seasons 8, 9 or 7, 8, 9. They really started to try to tell stories. And I don't think it hit very well at all. I remember saying, here they go. They're getting away from their sort of skit or sketch level. Every independent
vignettes,
episode stands. Vignettes or whatever you want to call them. And they try to tell a story. And I didn't think it hit very well. This one, I think they're doing a really good job in season 12. That's why I'm giving it the ratings I'm giving, because I'm enjoying. I want to see where this is going. And I haven't watched ahead. I'm following along so far.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how it ends.
Hey, listen, last episode was a fresh. We all loved it. And this episode was on a different level. Like, and you're being a fanboy with it. That's fine. But, so far we've got 2 clearances and a compost, and you came in with it. You're trying to balance things out. That's cool. And I'm
balance, bud.
Yeah. But that's my rating.
And you're trying to throw a hippo on the other end of this scale there with your compost, Victor. Jez, what do you give this one?
Coming out, I think it's fresh. I think the story has enough to carry it through, and I'm usually, as I'm listening to you guys, am agreeing with Al that a clearance is not a bad episode, and there should be more clearances and even more composts given. But I don't think this is the episode for that. This had a lot of story, which isn't the normal for a Letterkenny episode. It made, as I mentioned, people feel uncomfortable and having that fighting and the issues in there, which is not the norm, but it's setting up for a lot of kind of items. And the way that they did it, as I kind of mentioned, juxtaposed, if I can make anyone scream again, it went from the fairly heavy story to some of the lighter stuff. Yes, they've done funnier things. Yes, the cold open wasn't the best, but as an overall episode, I enjoyed it. I would rewatch it. I would show it to friends. And yeah, just thought how they did the craft of acting, writing, it all kind of came into play. A lot of the stuff, the emotions from Wayne and just everybody played their role. Yeah. So even the bits of Gail and Riley and Jonesy, when did you see that one that had her pants up her snapper and they just the synchronized nod, just all added the 1%ers that I call them, and that with the story, man's with the fresh.
Okay. Tobias here says Victor wants a noogie next time. Headlock isn't enough from from Jared. And Jez, you got them to scream again. So there you go. All right, let's move on to MVPs, and it's back up to me. And I haven't even thought about. Let's see. Oh man,
are you reading your script or Tanya's script?
No. I mean, Tanya's easy, but. This one here, because there's like 4 different storylines here, and it doesn't spend too much time on any one story. I mean, the standouts are like the 69 thing with Riley, Jonesy, and Gail. I like other than that obscure thing with the skids with the debating the right winger online. Although I loved the writing in that, like the alliteration in that was so much fun. So the skids are runners up. Maybe I give this one. Maybe I give this one to Dary, because he's being lured over to the dark side, and he's playing that role really well because he's seeing his value in that other group, and he's being confrontational with Wayne and stuff. So I think I'm going to give my MVP to Dary in this one. I think that storyline, I'm enjoying that storyline. Again, this is our first time seeing any kind of tension with the Hicks, and
there was a whole season with Wayne going through that depression phase.
Yeah, but there's no tension there. He was just hiding out, and they were trying to get him out of it, right?
Yeah,
like they were trying to help him.
He's just upset.
Yeah. Tanya's.
Oh no,
Tanya's MVP. She's giving it to the margaritas in the episode. So this is a Victor MVP. And it could also be the reason she's in the bathroom right now.
Feels a little timely because she's, gone. And
so she's giving it to the margaritas. Matt, what's your MVP?
So I'm giving my honorable mention to Dary. I think you're spot on. I think he really is stellar. The person I'm giving my MVP to actually in this one is Rolled. All of his bits, his physical humor, like his delivery of his lines, they just slayed. So like an example, like when they were doing the when they found about the bar tab and the $200 and they start screaming, his delivery of his reaction to that just absolutely killed me. So every time he came on screen, he was so over the top, but in such an amazing, playful way. He was so memorable for me in this episode. So I'm going to call out Rolled, even though his part was not a main line at all. It stood out to me. So it's Rolled.
Yeah, I gave it to the Skids last time, and this time again, I really enjoyed their role. But Rolled is a standout in this one. Victor, who do you give the MVP to?
Oh my God! The more you guys talk up this episode, the more ridiculous it gets. So I guess my struggled with this one a bit. My runner-up would be Lily, I guess, just because she's
a
kind
person, so that's
yeah, but and that's fine. I've nominated people before, but so she's
some have been unborn though, but anyway.
By the way, there's a new Canadian show with the fetus lady. But it's not great. I've watched the first couple episodes and I'm not impressed.
The matchmaker, by the way, the fetus lady.
The fetus lady.
Jesus Christ, Victor.
Fucking guy.
Okay, you gave one runner up. Go.
Yeah, so runner up. So Lily, she's kind of the mild mannered reporter and whatnot, and she's really cute. But she took her shot with Wayne. So you gotta commend that. But I don't know. I really disliked this episode. I didn't find anything great about it. So for me, the MVP are the credits.
Fuck. I think somebody actually said.
Yeah, Jeff had that.
Oh my God.
Jeff had that.
Oh,
Victor's
Jesus.
MVP, the end credits.
Oh, God.
Give that man a game stick.
Have you pulled that one out before, Victor? Has
No.
ever got it?
No, I've never had that.
He pulled I forget. Anyway. All right. Jez, who's your MVP?
I think going honorable mentions or runner up, seeing as everyone else has done it, probably going to Wayne. I thought his emotive play in a lot of it was really, really good. And this is probably more actually to Jared than it is to Wayne in terms of how well he conveyed those various bits and pieces and more the emotions, because we know he doesn't have the character doesn't have a huge range of that. But kind of continuing with the theme of what I was saying before, and no, I'm not going to say the J word again, but MVP goes to the Skids.
Okay.
I think particularly there's a few elements where they come in after some hard-hitting kind of story elements, like when they did come in on the suits. I wrote down that when I first watched them in those ridiculously over-the-top suits, it was like the Skids on speed. And that just kind of took you out from where you were before. And then at both the bar tab scene and then afterwards, after they turned the power off and Rolled just popping up and blowing out the candle in the way that only Evan Stern can. There was those kind of moments that made you smile and kind of brought it back. So MVP is the Skids.
All right. Sweet. All right. I'm going to just move on. I've got a few listener comments to go through here. We have one here. I love both Letterkenny Sudbury universe, and this podcast is as essential to me as watching the episodes. Keep up the great work. And that's from our buddy PJ McCarthy. He also had some strong words about episode 1 of this season, who he said was like his least favorite episode of Letterkenny ever. Of the laughter.
I'd love to hear his review of this episode.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I don't think he's gotten to this one yet. But we also have here, if you're a friend or follower of mine, love Letterkenny, Shoresy, or the Kisoverse, I don't know about that, and aren't aware of how friggin' cool the produce stand is, well, here's your introduction to them. Your mom says it's okay to play with them, and that's from our buddy Smitty on Twitter. The folks over at Produce Stand Pod gave me a little shout out near the end of this episode of last week's episode, and I'm not ashamed to admit I fangirled over it. As always, a great recap of the show. That's from Addled Pixie. And hey, guys, I think you should do an entire episode on how awesome Terry Ryan is. Talk about an amazing birthday. So proud of our boy. He's a true class act. And that's from our buddy Don. And what he's referring to is, and this is the news segment that I forgot to read, at 47 years old, minor league legend Terry Ryan makes his debut for the Newfoundland Growlers a couple of days ago. The team was riddled with illness and injury, so he took the call. Not only did he play in the game, I believe it was a playoff game, he set the tone. He actually got into a fight. 47 years old, picking a fight. And it was
didn't win, but he fought.
Yeah, they didn't win. I think they lost 6-2, but he fought, and it was on his birthday. Kudos to Terry. He did it. And I mean, you know, I'm only a year older than he is, and there's no way in hell I'd get on the ice. So he's yeah. Kudos to Terry for that. And thank you all for your comments. And now it's time just for final comments, and I'm up. Jez, I hope you had a great time. You did a great job, bud. A lot of great insight, and I'm glad. I'm sorry if you didn't get a unicorn episode, but I hope you had fun, and we loved having you and meeting you and getting to know you. So thank you for coming out. I'm looking forward to the next. We're halfway through this season, guys. So it's only going to get sadder from here, I think. Thank you so much for coming out, guys. You did a great job. Next up would be Tanya, but she's not here. So next up,
let's just have a moment of silence for Tanya's final thoughts.
Oh wait,
as she works through her clearance.
There we go. There's a moment of silence for Tanya.
Well played,
Matt.
Yeah, Jez, you killed it, man. Thanks for coming out. Such a blast. I hope tomorrow is good, because it sounds like you're in the future, and I fucking love that. Love the future. This was a fun one. I love when we get into some debate.
Yeah.
I knew Victor was going to hate this one. I knew it. I don't know why. You can just tell, right? There's something about it. You're like, oh, he's not going to like that. He's not going to like that. That's okay. Victor's wrong more than he's right. And
yeah.
We love him still.
Agreed.
So I'm excited to see how this wraps up, and also scared because it's going to end. But lots of more to come. Yeah, another great episode, guys. Thanks.
Oh yeah, and a reminder: next Monday we're being visited by Olivia Stadler.
That's right.
So we'll be interviewing her next Monday. If you're a patron, you'll get that right away, and if you're not, you'll get it a week later. But looking forward to having Olivia on. Victor.
Yeah.
Hey, Jazz, did you see that movie American Beauty?
You make a
Maybe
reference to the garbage bag flying around the air.
Yes. So, and Matt,
yeah,
see, you and I are like so in sync. I love you, man. You know, and you're getting older, you're getting wiser. So I appreciate that about you. So you're a beautiful man, Jez. You can look at a plastic bag floating through the air and find beauty in it.
You're something else, Victor.
And so I do appreciate that about you as well. You were great on the episode. You brought lots of insights. And you were able to, again, find a rainbow inside a thunderstorm. So I appreciate that. And you're welcome to come back anytime. And anybody who's got two guitars and a Degen guitar behind them is also a class act. So I appreciate that as well.
Sort yourself out.
Jez.
Thanks so much for having me on. I think it was a great episode. I think I came in hoping that everyone was going to be on the same page and all the rest of it. I honestly didn't even cross my mind that there would be so much kind of discussion, but
it's more fun that way though. Come on.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
In hindsight, it's really good because it makes me stand on my own convictions and be able to have that conversation, but hearing other people have their own thing. And I think, and again, not good for a audio podcast, but I must say I haven't been able to watch too many of the live streams because I'm at work usually when they kind of come out. But Victor, seeing you smile right the way through made me feel so good. So happy birthday, Matt. Didn't mention that earlier. So
thank you.
Obviously spoke about that a bit. Just quickly, I want to say thank you to all you guys and the fact that you kind of keep going on the way that you do. I know you 200, there was a lot of people that said a lot of really lovely things. I suppose I want to echo that. I jokingly said on the ag hall that I came here for parenting advice, but I think it's been really good that like a lot of the stuff I listen to and I can relate to. So whether it's going running again for the first time in a little while, or listening to a new album I've not heard of, or preparing for a Harry Potter themed birthday party or something like that, you can always kind of resonate. And every time I listen, I'll generally resonate with somebody else. So it's not always the character that I'm not always following one person. I'm not always on Matt's side. I'm not always on Victor's side. It's a real good chop and change. And I just think that makes you guys bloody beauty. So thank you so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Juxtaposition.
There you go. Oh, they asked you to do it one last time, and now they're screaming in the live stream. And I'm going to play us off here with a song from this episode. I love this song, too. It is called Take Me to the Freeway by the Genders. Here we go.
I'm free. Ain't nothing gonna bother me. Said I'm free. Well, ain't nothing gonna bother me. Take me to the freeway.
And that's all we have for this episode. Next week, where are we? Oh, here we go. We will recap and review episode 4 of season 12, Snooter, with our buddy Sarah. And if you'd like to support this podcast, please tell us a friend. Also follow us on most social media outlets at ProtestanPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to go to the TPS After Hours Club. There are no Snooters, but we got beers and stuff. On behalf of Jez, Tanya, Matt, Victor, and myself, thank you for listening, and have a great week.